and welcome to brand new edition of 60 Minutes Live. Last week was good and today will be better. The Imo State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Professor Francis Ezeonu, will be here with us to talk about the continuous registration exercise, the challenges and the prospects. The permanent voters card, which is the power of the electorate to decide who rules them, is very, very essential. Professor Ezeonu will tell us more. Why did he jettison the position? Very coveted. People wanted to be political advisors on political matters, but again, that's different strokes for. Yes.
I think so far we've had a peaceful atmosphere here, and we are more in the field than in the media. But okay. We also, some of our voter education department has also been in the media, and whenever we have opportunity, we also appear, just like you have given me the opportunity now.
Okay, let me start this way. Like the question I asked you, that was at the fallout of the primaries that were conducted by political parties. How did it go in Imo State? Are there hiccups? Are there substitution? Are there complaints from both candidates, parties, or other issues that maybe may require change of name, change of this and that?
Okay, well, usually you expect such things. The character of our people is that if you go in for an election and you don't win, you must have reason for not winning. It's part of the character of Nigerians. If our football team go for a match and they lose, there must be a reason why they lost. So, but we are not central to these issues. It's an entirely party affair. The duty of INEC is to observe and record what we have observed. The issue of selection of candidates is an entirely party matter. We don't get involved. Our duty is just to go there as observers, one, to confirm, because that whatever they did is in accordance with the prescribed law. If there are any other observations, we make them, and then we submit to the commission. The law did not give us power to decide who becomes the winner and who becomes the loser. But if it is challenged, if it is challenged in any way, the people will now, the people who are displeased will take recourse to the courts, and that is where the INEC report becomes very relevant, because the parties involved will request for certified true copy, and usually we are joined in the suits, and then we appear and say precisely this is what happened, and then the court takes its decision.
Okay, thank God that Imo is cool, calm, and peaceful. We pray that it will reflect during the elections.
Well, that's our prayers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our prayers. But there is no doubt that to an extent, to a large extent, we are still struggling with the issue of eternal democracy within political parties. Now, as the issue of substitution, which you've asked about, we don't handle the submission of names of candidates at this level. It's at the commission level. Okay. We have a portal where that is done, and then we have 15th July as deadline for withdrawal and substitution for the presidency, the National Assembly, and then for the governorship and State House Assembly, 12th August. Okay. Now the law is very clear. If you go to the Electoral Act 2022, I think Section 33 is very clear. The only way you can substitute a candidate is that the person who has already been nominated will do a letter saying, I'm no longer interested in contesting, and possibly giving the reasons. Then the party will forward that to INEC, and then the party will have the opportunity within the next 14 days to have another primary. So is that on automatic, you pick and drop? Okay. And that's part of the problem you have in our Kwaibom, okay, with Gospel at Abio. So that because you've asked about the Guinea, yes. This been the contention, and the Guinea was very precise that look, they are trying to survive the process, and of course the commission has taken a stand that because the former person has not stepped down, that election remains valid.
Okay, and that's what even happened in somewhere far north.
Yeah, in the case of Lawan, sure. Yeah, so that is it. And because in the past, political parties have used the power of their positions and incumbency to drop candidates who were legally and legibly nominated by their parties, and it is wrong. So I think that's what part of what the Electoral Act is trying to correct.
Okay, kudos to INEC. I think INEC seems to be getting the acts right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's a good one. Okay, sir, let us come to the main issue that is on ground now, the continuous voter registration exercise. So far, so good. What is the situation in Imo State before we go into details?
Okay, well, I think suddenly our people have woken up. All because you started this exercise since June last year, and we tried as much as possible to sensitize the people, but there was general apathy. Partly because I think some people felt that they are not getting the dividends of democracy. So why do you tax yourself? Why do you spend your money to go to local government to register and so on and so forth? That was one. The second issue that militated against people coming out was the issue of insecurity. Very serious, very bad. Of course, you are aware that we lost one of our staff in April at Ihituboma to unknown gunmen. So these were very serious encumbrances. But I think suddenly there appeared to be a national consciousness, especially amongst the youths. You know, and people are turning out massively, so much so that we are getting suffocated. But we are trying to do our best. What I keep on pleading with our people is to be patient. You see, somebody rushes in, wants you to attend to him in the next 2 minutes so that he can go. It's not like that. We should learn to be patient. You know, when you come and there is a queue, you join the line. And if it's your turn, we attend to you. Secondly, we realize that a lot of people who are turning up for this exercise have no need turning up for them. Between June and December 2021, we registered 16,511 new voters. And by the time the newly registered voters, the list was run on our automated fingerprint identification system, it was very clear that some people had registered before. And about 7,145 people were discovered to have registered before, almost 43.3%. And you still see people turning out. People have registered before. Some will tell you, look, that they registered in the past. They were asked by politicians in their village to come and register again. And we said, no, once you have registered before, you don't register again. So I think this is an opportunity to properly also educate our people. We've been doing that, but sometimes these registrants appear to believe the politicians more than they believe us.
Okay, sir.
For very obvious reasons.
Yes, that brought me up now to an issue called expiration. There have been so many messages on the social media that if you have registered before 2011, that your card has expired and people should go for another registration. And people have really hearkened to this call or this voice, and they may possibly cause of this multiple registration. So does permanent voters card expire?
It does not expire. If it expires, you will see it at the back. It will say this card expires by so date. There is nothing like expiration. I don't know how politicians arrived at that. But what I have realized is that there appear to be some game ongoing. I have seen some elderly people who have come to our state office to register. They are usually brought there, buses bring them there. And then I tried to explain to them. One was very honest. He said, look, Oga, we've been giving money to come and register. And we said when we finish registering, we should bring back the temporary voters slip that's given to us, to them, as evidence that we have registered. And I said, who are these people? The man said, Oga, no, I won't tell you that. Of course, it was very obvious to me that this is being done by politicians and some stakeholders who want to peddle influence. And so the man was in a dilemma. I have been giving money, and I don't want to return the money. What do you want me to do? And I said, Oga, if you if you register, I directed them not to register him, except you want to change your voting points and so on. So he left. There is a possibility that he may come back.
Or go to another voting point.
And then our staff will usually ask them whether they have registered before. And they will tell you they have not registered before. But you come in and you see, and they say, so you have never voted before in this country. They say, no, we have voted. I said, then why are you here? So, one is that there's nothing like expiration of cards. There's nothing like revalidation. Now, there is opportunity for review for people who may have changed their names. Right? Like people who got married and they have changed their names. And in such circumstance, you are required to upload the evidence of change of name. Because at the end of the day, we approve this thing at the back end. And if you have applied for a change of name and at the back end I don't see your evidence, I will not approve it. I will reject it. Now, there are also cases of people who have lost their cards or their cards are defaced. And when they come, rather than telling you that, look, this is the problem, they will tell you they have not registered before. So by the time they register again and you run the fingerprint, it will identify and we yank it off and you end up not having a card because the system will assume that you already have a card.
Okay, sir, let me even ask this question. Since all this is automated, is there no way that if I go to one registering point, when I mention my name, Tony Mad, you impute it? If I've registered before, the thing will say you've registered before, and I will be told to
sure.
go. Is there no such things?
There is. For it, once you give your correct information, right? Some people when they come, because what you do is, if I'm in doubt, I'll ask for your name. I'll put in your surname. I'll put in your first name, and then your exact date of birth. Some people will come. They will tell you they have forgotten the date of birth they used it last time, meaning that they were not using their correct date of birth. So if you don't have that, okay, then if you don't give us the proper statistics, and the system cannot be prompted to bring out your name. But if you give us, even here now, I can check your status. It will bring up your where you registered or your delimitation data. Now, but once any of the information you give is incorrect, it will not. So what will happen now is that we'll capture you fresh. By the time we run it in an automated fingerprint identification system, the fingerprint will show that this person has been captured before and it will throw it out.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's. We have about 27 local. We have 27 local government areas in Imo State. How do you have the manpower, the facilities, the machines that cover these 27 local government areas without complaints and hitches? And if you have the statistics of telling us how many in each local government, if it's possible.
Okay. One, I cannot right away tell you how many in each local government. Originally, the design is that we have 3 machines in each local government. One machine to be at the local government stationary, at INEC local government office stationary, so anybody can walk in anytime and register there. Then 2 were to be mobile, moving from one registration area to the other, or from one community to the other, depending on the agreement with the stakeholders. We had designed the way we would deploy the mobile machines. Now, but what happened was that at the material time that this CVR, Continuous Voter Registration Exercise, started in June 2021, there was very serious case of insecurity nationwide. So INEC decided to start with registration at INEC offices where we are sure, largely sure, that our securities are guaranteed. And by the time we are getting to the end, midway into the 3rd phase, we are now asked to deploy to communities. So we started moving around. One of the most unfortunate things that happened was that we could not do it in most places, because when the EOs, some of the EOs convened meetings of
EOs are
electoral officers who are in charge, they are to local governments what the resident electoral commissioner is to the state.
Okay.
Now, a few PGs were not willing to host us because of insecurity and because of the threat by the agitators, in quotes, that there will be no election in Biafran land. This became a problem. And we know that in one occasion, I think one of the PGs who was trying to attend one of the meetings was killed. And then every person disappeared. So it became a problem.
Yeah.
By the time we got to the 4th phase, we now decided that we must dare. And we deployed by 12th April, when we started the fourth quarter of the registration by 12th April. And on 14th April, one of our staff was killed in one of those mobile stations. And we immediately withdrew back. Prior to then, we had closed the registration at Njaba also because of insecurity. We could not dare those areas. And we discussed with the local government chairman, and of course, at Njaba we were managing until 2 traditional rulers were killed. And then every person deserted the local government and they closed the place. Before then, they had burnt our office at Njaba, and we were given a makeshift accommodation at the local government office. But with this, yeah, we could not continue. Yeah, we would do. The same thing happened at Osu. That of Osu, it was so bad that at the time we could no longer access our office. So we withdrew from those 2 places. And we advise that people from those localities can go to anywhere. Machines are not designed for local government. You can even complete your registration in Abuja. If you are, for instance, you are from Abombise and you are staying in Abuja and you want to register, you can start your registration and complete it at Abuja because it is online. The essence of making it online was to reduce movement and make things easy for people. Then when you are a PVC is out, because the machine, we don't know where you register from. It's a portal, but we know where you want to vote. So that's where you go and collect your PVC when it's ready. Okay. The PVC for people who register between June and December is ready, and we have announced this severally. But people are not turning up. So for me, the problem is not even registration. It is coming to pick your PVC.
Okay, sir.
We have over 400,000 unclaimed PVC.
Yes. Before we get there was something you said before. You said there was sudden enthusiasm or mass movement of youths.
Sure.
That made registration now to be more interesting in quotes, because more interesting to the public, but to you who are doing it more work. So what do you think is responsible for this upsurge, especially in the number of youths?
For the upsurge, okay. Yes. I think one is that there is this new confidence that the new Electoral Act has locked up all the avenues for rigging. And that they are now very confident that their votes will count. And of course, that's why you now see that the new trend now is vote buying. I was at Ekiti and it was an issue.
Even started here at Ngokbala.
And it started at Ngokbala. Yeah, because it is now very clear that votes count.
Yes.
And this is also being promoted by civil society organizations. And also, I think there are a few politicians who suddenly started preaching what the youth want to hear. And they appear to be seeing rays of hope in the future, in the political future. And of course also out of frustration. You know, when you press somebody to the wall and there is no other outlet, the person will fight back. The first attempt the youths of this country made in recent time to express their displeasure was the NSAS. And it didn't end well. And for some of them, I'm a civil society person and I'm a unionist, right? So, and also a teacher. And for some I thought, at least those of them who have had access to me, and also in the public space, we advise them, look, you cannot confront the authority the way you've done. The only thing you can do is to become active participants.
In the electoral process.
In the electoral process, work out to occupy the political space. You are favored, demographics favor you. And I think that message started getting home. And out there also, there are some politicians that started preaching a message of hope. And they felt, okay, it is not entirely bad. We can salvage our country. And that was responsible for the new awareness, which we appreciate. I so much appreciate it. And to tell you what, the commission, the chairman was so happy that he has deployed more machines to especially southeastern states, Lagos, Kano, those areas where there is pressure. He has deployed more machines than we originally budgeted for them.
Okay, yes, I think some of us, when we move around, we hear people say, in the Yoruba side, they say, it's our turn. Once they tell it's our turn, You have to go and register. When you come to the southeast, they say be obedient. That's you have to go and register, so and so forth and so on. Yes, the issue is not even is it all about registration or picking up the PVC and coming at it, because if you look at statistics in Lagos, Lagos used to have a higher voter registration number. But when it comes to voting, you see a very low number. Rivers will shoot up with a higher voter number. So, what is the really thing? What is it? Which is the most important? Is it the registration or the participation in voting and collection of the exercise?
The icing on the cake is not just to register, but the registration for me is a process. It's a stepwise process. Because if you don't register, you can't have PVC and you can't participate in the process. So for me, the new spike in registration numbers is very, very encouraging. Like I told you, by December, we had 16,511 newly registered voters in Imo State. As at the last count, last Monday, because normally every Monday we release, it was about 79,000. So for me, that's a good step forward. Now, the next thing is to make sure that all the registrants pick their PVCs. And then the last one, which is the icing on the cake, is to participate in the process, to appear that day, to exercise your right. The power belongs to the thumb. And once the people who owns the power decide to be part of the process, every other thing, becomes history.
Yeah. Oh yes, I have been speaking with the resident electoral commissioner of Imo State, Professor Francis Ezeonu. Professor Francis Ezeonu, incidentally, is about completing his first tenure as rec of Imo State. But all this will come after this time. Let's have a break so that we'll be able to continue the discussion in a moment. 60 Minutes Live, being with Professor Francis Ezeonu, the Imo State Independent Resident Electoral Commissioner, because I have to put independent independent in INEC, because this time out,
Thank you very much.
for the past since after the enactment of the Electoral Act, your work has been really independent.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Prof, you're welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Second time. So, sir, let us look at this issue. Somebody just, we're on break. Somebody asked the same question we have already asked. That the PVCs that were registered from 2011 when the electronic system started to date, is it expirable?
No, their PVCs are not expirable. They don't expire. So if you have already registered, please don't, and you have your PVC, don't come back. But if you've lost your PVC, then you can come back and tell us you've lost your PVC. You can even do it online. For those of you who are ICT savvy, you can go to our registration portal, cvr.inecnigeria.org. Register with the portal, so you have a login details. And with your login details, once you go in, you see different windows. You see the window for new registration. That one has been blocked, because we don't want people to continue to register online till the last day. If not, they will have problem of going to capture them. So we stopped that, so that on 30th May, so that we have enough time for those people who have registered online to go for capturing. Now, another window is review. That is, if you want to update information about yourself. The third window, like for those who have changed their name, like I said. Now, the third window is for transfer. If you, assuming you were in Lagos before and you are now in Owerri, and you registered in Lagos and you want to transfer your voting point to Owerri, very easy. And it's very interactive. Once you go there, indicate that you want to register in Imo State, you will see a drop-down arrow, which it will ask you the local government. You choose their local government. You get another drop-down arrow asking the ward, the polling unit, because this is also an opportunity to populate the newly created polling units. Now, the last window is the replacement for those whose cards are broken, or whose cards are defaced, or who have lost their cards. However, if you have registered previously and you have had issue with accreditation in any of the previous elections, it means there was a problem with your biometrics. So you come back for a capturing. Once you come, tell us, look, I'm registered, this is my PVC, but it's so and so year when I went for accreditation, they say my thumbprint could not be read. So it means we have challenge with your with your biometrics, so that you'll be recaptured. Apart from that, there's nothing like validation. There is nothing like fresh registration. Once you have your PVC, you have your PVC.
And it's called permanent
voters card.
So it doesn't expire.
Exactly.
So, sir, there's been experiences at with your EOs in the local government areas, electoral officers. Many voters complain from local government areas. And when they get there, they tell them, say, there's no fuel, there's no light, the thing is not, they cannot register. You see a bottleneck. And there has been some unconfirmed allegations that there are some certain sharp practices that are being played by INEC officials at these local government areas to extort 1 or 2 naira. Are you aware, and what are you saying in terms of making sure that the batteries are charged for them to be registered?
Okay, Tony, thank you very much for raising that issue. One, let me address the issue of people saying they have no power. Well, funds are provided for fuel, but there is no doubt that in places, in localities where you don't have electricity at all, that the fuel may not suffice for the entire period, because it's expected that there should be electricity, and this is to support in case there is no electricity. But that's not an excuse. The device, the new enrollment device, INEC voter enrollment device, IVED, is designed in such a way that it can run without electricity. The only place where perhaps you may need that is for printing the temporary
voters
card. It has a power bank that lasts more than 24 hours. So what we normally advise CEOs to do, if you don't have power where you are, at the end of the day, you take it back to your house and charge it. and bring it back the next morning. So I don't see that as an excuse. If there is such things, we will encourage people to call the INEC office or call me directly. And then in few instances where I've been called, we had to find out what happened. And that takes me to the issue of taking money. I have also received the reports about INEC staff collecting money. And what I just do in most of the cases is to visit the place myself. You know, I'm a small man and I can go unnoticed. I can appear casually and come and join the line. I'll tell you, it happened. The first report we got was at the municipal. And when I go there, I realized that there were some guys who were doing quick big business. These people were not INEC staff. So what they were doing, some even came with their systems, some either from business centers or people who are ICT savvy with their phone. They will tell you, look, come out, instead of queuing up, I'll help you do it and you pay me. And then they take your particulars and they do the registration for you online, or they do the transfer for you online. In that case, you are paying for your ignorance. It's not INEC that is charging that money. And I also know that some people go to business centers, because somebody has reported to me that there is a business center that is collecting money and registering people. I said, if you like, you pay. It's a business center. The man is running business
and using data.
There is a platform. It's either you do it yourself, or if you want somebody to give you a service and the person charges for the service, it's not compulsory. If you like, you pay. If not, you go and queue at the INEC office. So that was precisely what happened. So it's not about INEC people trying to take money, okay, right? Yeah. There is a report I got about a staff who asked for money, and I asked them to get me. Incidentally, they couldn't get the identity of the staff, and that's part of why I usually insist that our staff should put on their ID card. So you know when you are dealing with an INEC staff and when you are dealing with an outsider, because at the end they turn out again that the person in question is not our staff.
Okay, sir. Time is not at our disposal so much again. Your first tenure is about expiring, and one will want to know what are the parting words, what are the experiences you feel you've acquired within this period, especially in Imo State, and what will be your next point of action?
Okay, Tony, thank you very much. Let me start from the last one. I came from the university. My tenure is ending. I was appointed on 7th July 2017, and my tenure is expiring by 6th July 2022. So by 2022, I'll hand over to the admin sec, and then I'll proceed back to my university and join the strike.
So what if you enjoy the strike?
Because the academic staff union of university have strike. You know, so once I go back, it's like a relay. Wherever you meet them, you join them. If they are in session, I would have just returned immediately, automatically.
Anyway,
to the classroom.
yes, we pray that you get the second call to complete the job you've started. So because anybody coming now is going to meet the thing halfway.
Well, that's not for me to determine. But I must say that it was a pleasant stay in Imo State. Yeah. There was a time I desperately wanted to leave, but the commission is not. You don't post yourself; it's the commission that posts you. There was a time we had challenges, you know, after some elections, and I felt, look, I don't want people seeing me as a problem and possibly using whatever impression they have about me to judge INEC. If that will anything that will demean the image of INEC, then let me go. But the commission felt that I've not done anything. Yeah, so I stayed there confidently. Yeah. The chairman said, "Look, you are asked to stay there. If at any point in time we have need to move, we move people around." Largely this time, most recs were not, because in the past the culture was that if once you finish election, you are removed. Do you understand? I think the commission felt that possibly created the room for recs to just behave anyhow, knowing that you run away from the place after the election. So this time the formula changed. After the election, you stay put. So if you have done anything wrong, you bear the consequences of what you have done. And I think that that's good. I must be honest. I enjoyed my stay in Imo State. It's every person must not like what you do, but I don't want to be liked. What I want to do is to be seen to have done the right thing.
Okay, that is the word. I don't want to be liked, but let my job speak for me, and let me be seen to have done the right thing. So that's how far we can take it to Professor Francis Ezeonu. Thank you for coming on 60 Minutes Live.
Thank you, Tony, for the opportunity.
Okay.
And for giving me this opportunity to say goodbye.
Well, that's the music. Well, let us, yes. When we do center forth, we can still do welcome back. So that's how far we can go with the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Imo State for now. And the next candidate or person we are going to have now is a broadcaster, an analyst, and has now turned a politician. I'm talking about Nonsoba, who is flying the flag of ADC through Mbike as a House of Rep candidate. In the next moment, he will be with us and tell us what's possible, whether he has told his people to get